Hello, I'm Maria Miller, and this is Style by Design. Today I'm sitting down with Alexandra von Furstenberg in her Los Angeles showroom on Melrose Boulevard. Thank you, Alexandra, for sitting down with me.
Thank you.
You have had an amazing childhood. You were raised in Hong Kong, Paris, and New York. Was that adventurous?
It was wonderful to experience so many different cultures and see different styles, and it was just wonderful.
And after high school, you went to Brown University and Parsons School of Design. What did you major in there?
Art history and the history of costume.
History of costume. Did you design any for productions?
I did for the drama department at Brown, yeah. Worked with a design team and we did the theater costumes.
Excellent. So was there a distinct point in time when you knew design was your passion?
Since I was a little girl, I always loved clothes and rearranging furniture. Absolutely.
Now your father is Robert Miller. He's an extremely successful businessman. Did you learn your business savvy from him?
Absolutely. Just work ethic and being very professional about things, knowing that you never have a second chance at a first impression.
Right.
That's something that really stuck with me. And just doing your best, really.
What motivated you to open your own showroom?
When I moved to Los Angeles 6 years ago, I found that when I was decorating my home, I had a hard time finding things that I really liked. And so I ended up making a lot of the furniture for my home. And in doing so, I enjoyed it so much. It made me so happy and so invigorated that I realized that if it was doing that to me, making me feel those ways, it was clearly something that I needed to do.
What challenges did you face in starting a business?
Well, researching the material, lucite, and understanding how to make it and what's the best way. I had to learn all those things, and I worked over a year and a half researching all of that.
And educating yourself on. What is the difference between lucite, acrylic, and a hard plastic?
Pretty much the same. Lucite and acrylic is definitely the same. Hard plastic might be a cheaper form of it. They're all petroleum-based.
What are the challenges of working with the acrylic, lucite?
Price of gas goes up, so does my material. It also depends on the climate of the room. It has to be quite warm in order to glue it properly. It can't be very cold, and it requires a skill in how you cut it and how you shine it and put it together. It's very temperamental.
What is unique about your use of acrylic?
I think at the time that I brought acrylic back, it had kind of been dormant for a little bit, and it had its surge in the late 70s and 80s as this very modern material that seemed futuristic, actually, and then it just disappeared. I think bringing it back at the time was right, so the timing of that was great. I don't think anyone ever explored it in the way that I have taken it to a very elegant and almost functioning art way, if you'd like. And I do still hope that by creating new products all the time, that someone can always update their home and keep it current and modern and fresh looking.
In the 70s, were people using color in acrylic the way you do?
No, they were not. It was solely clear.
Really?
Yes. I mean, there was a little bit of color, but it was mainly clear, because that was, I'm assuming, a view of what future was.
So you've definitely, with introducing color into acrylic, have made it modern, contemporary, with the times that we're living in.
Yes. I mean, I'm not the pioneer of colored acrylic, but certainly in taking it to this level, yes, I certainly feel that I have carved a niche for myself.
What is your approach to developing a new product or a new design?
Well, I always like to keep it current and modern and growing with the times as well, and I think people always do, like, as often as you update your wardrobe, why wouldn't you do the same for your home?
That's a good approach.
It's my concept.
Do you have a design philosophy?
Less is more. I like minimal but warm. I think that everything should have its right place and everything should be strong enough and that its look stands firm in that room. I don't believe in over-cluttering. I think fine editing is the best way to have your home and your closet too.
And that's a whole art form in itself, at being able to edit your house. I think a lot of people when they're decorating and designing struggle with that. Do you have any advice for someone?
I think a lot of the times it's because people have a hard time letting go and they tend to hold on to things for so many years and they don't realize that it's okay to weed out some things and hold on to, of course, things that have sentimental value, but you don't need to just hang on to it for the sake of hanging on to it because it might not work anymore.
Your first collection was inspired by the cut in shape of diamonds. How did that come about?
That came about when I was researching lucite and how to cut it. It was very similar to the way that you cut a diamond. And that is, a diamond is usually in raw form, it's very milky. You can't see through it, it's not transparent. And acrylic is the same. It's not as clear and brilliant as you see it now. It's very murky. And so a lot of the cuts and the way that you cut it and shine it and bring it to its brilliance is very similar to taking care of gems.
I didn't know that about acrylic, that it's milky.
So it was just part of my research that I was like, wow, this just seems organic. This is the way it should be. And then, so a lot of them are named after diamond cuts.
What is your average time frame from product inception until it's released?
Probably about 6 months. Yes, because you have to prototype, and then that comes back flawed, or tweaks are made. And I mean, it could be less. I mean, I've done it in quicker when I've had to rush it for a show or something. But something brand spanking new, it will probably take about 6 months.
Do you ever have anything commissioned?
Yes, but it's always within the vibe of what I do.
What is the key for achieving long-term success for a brand?
For me, it's been slow and steady. I didn't want to open so many stores so fast, and I wasn't all about oversaturation just to make the money. Me, it was really, I wanted to gain the respect of my customers. I wanted them to get to know me, trust what I do, that my product is very luxurious, and just really win over their admiration. So I believe in a slower approach.
You hang on to them because they've grown with you and with your brand. What part of your work do you find the most interesting?
It's all very interesting. I mean, it's been such a discovery process in the very beginning, learning about it, having my own business, versus working for somebody. I mean, the whole thing has been wonderful challenges and discoveries. And then seeing my pieces in people's homes, that's been great. That's a wonderful boost. Seeing them in magazines, in somebody's house, also is wonderful.
Have you ever been to a party or at somebody's house not knowing that they had a piece of yours and it surprised you?
Not knowing, because I know everyone who has my pieces, at least I remember, but forgetting and then walking in and then being taken aback, yes, that's happened.
That must
and
be
it's great,
nice.
yes, yeah. It is wonderful.
How does creating make you feel?
Invigorated, inspired.
Have you ever had a bad or a crazy experience working with acrylic that you didn't expect?
Yeah, it can get frustrating at times when it doesn't glue properly, or when I get oxygen air into the glue and it bubbles. I mean, there's things that happen that are very frustrating because you can't just clean it up, you have to start over again. So that can be frustrating.
So you have to completely take it apart, and do you re-clean the surface and then?
Sometimes I try and do that, and sometimes it won't work and we'll have to cut another piece.
That would be frustrating.
Yes.
Is there a color that is popular at the moment?
I mean, people identify this brand as the neons, so the neons tend to do really, really well. So I'd have to say I'm probably recognized for the neon, although I do offer 11 colors, so.
Given your incredible sense of style, what advice would you give to somebody when decorating their own home?
Pick strong pieces that stand great on their own, not anything over-cluttered. I tend to like simplistic colors with pop, because I think they're stronger that way. You don't want too much for the eye to see, and you want to narrow in into something where there's a focal point.
Is there a time period that's a favorite of yours?
I really like the 60s and 70s because it was such the beginning of simplicity in form for furniture. A little bit of the 50s, end of 50s, but then I can also appreciate some of the beautiful French antiquities just for the art form and the craftsmanship. I wouldn't want to necessarily live in that, but I really can appreciate craft.
I read that Charles Hollis Jones stopped by your showroom one day, and he's a famous designer from the 70s with acrylics. What was that like?
That was wonderful. He was somebody who, when I was researching and developing acrylic, I've always been fascinated with his beautiful modernism, designs and styles. And he, in my mind, was one of the pioneers of acrylic. And it was I felt very proud, and I felt very, a little intimidated as well. But it was wonderful. That was a great moment.
And he just popped in, right? He was just walking down the street?
He had come across Victor, who's my director of production and of the operations, and he kind of set it up and said, "Oh, come meet us." So
I'm very jealous of you because you had the luxury of working with Kevin Aquan before he passed away. What was that experience like?
That was wonderful. It was another highlight in my adult life. Working with him, he's such a genius, such an artist. It's just such a wonderful human being, and having him transform me into Cher was just, I felt like I was playing dress up. It was fantastic. And it was a 2-day process that was just amazing to be transformed into such an icon.
I read that when Cher saw the photograph of you as her, she commented that you look more like her than she does. And you do. You have the same eyes and facial structure. How would you describe beauty?
I think it comes from the inside out, and it's something that I think it's the peace that a person has from the inside that comes out in their beauty, and it's their temperament. It's not just aesthetics, but it's their personality, it's their character, it's their demeanor.
What do you like to do in your free time?
I love to go walking on the beach. I love to read. I love spending time with my children, my fiancé, my puppies.
You have Fearless written in neon on the wall of your showroom. What is Fearless to you?
When I started this business, I had just come off the end of 10 years of working for DVF Studios, and also finalized my divorce. And to then start my life all over again and this business, Fearless was my motto, that no matter what I could do, whatever it was that I set my mind to.
Do you mind if you show us around your studio?
And I'd love to.
Alexandra, this is your new Lotus Bowl for your home accessory line.
So it's a fruit bowl big enough to display your fruits on your dining room table, or you can also use it with a little bit of water and float a large flower in it, which is a couple large flowers. It's very pretty. And then these are the vases.
And you were saying that the darker colors absorb light where the lighter, more neon reflect.
That's right. The darker, deeper colors will just saturate and take in the color, and then the neons will bounce it off. It becomes a highlighter, it will reflect it, so it gives off that illusion that it's electric.
Now, with a color like that's white there, that, if you're going to a party and you need a hostess gift or you're buying a present for somebody's house, you can incorporate that color and design into, say, a traditional home. I know people are worried about what to buy somebody, but they could have a very traditional home and your vases would.
Absolutely. Some of the darker colors, the black, white, bronze colors can go into traditional, so can the neons, but just a matter of how they feel and how confident they are with pop colors.
Tell me about this table/desk, correct?
Yes, it's a desk. It's called the blacksmith desk, and it's just basically off a carpenter's table in the typical A-frame wood, and a carpenter would work on that.
Alexandra, here we have your limited edition gem boxes. Will you tell me about them?
Every year I'll do a new accessory, limited edition, and these were inspired by the bullet table I do, which is a large emerald cut diamond, inspired diamond, not a real diamond. And they are basically a box with a lid that you can place anything you want in them.
And everything is signed.
Everything I make, furniture and accessories, is all made by hand and made here in the US.
I'm not sure if you mentioned it before, but if I just want to make sure we get it in, that all of this is based on if gas and petroleum prices go up, it affects your business. And you talked about how you survived the economy and the problems we had as a businesswoman. Can you talk at all about, you said you trimmed the fat and you really focused on keeping the foresight of your company and your product and keeping things lean without losing your business.
Yeah, I absolutely did. I had to, it was a new business, and I had to make sure that where I was spending the money was obviously productive, and anything that was not really focused, and I kind of put it to the side and got rid of. And that was also a main reason why the surge into doing home accessories aside from the furniture was important, because I wanted to be able to still grow the brand, but give a price point that was more accessible to people that certainly weren't buying pieces of furniture for their houses. So I was offering a smaller item at a cheaper price. So that's how the accessories were born.
Do you have one piece of advice for somebody going into business, whether it's home accessories or furniture or an ice cream shop, one key thing that you would say, this is what you need to do when opening a new company?
Put a business plan together, think it through. It's not just so much about finding a great shop location and having a great idea. I mean, you really have to think it through, because an idea can only take you so far. Having your own business it's expensive, and it needs to be thought through.
Now this is your bullet table. Tell me about it.
This was inspired by an emerald cut diamond.
And you were telling me about the two colors. You do translucent and
opaque.
Opaque.
So there's only two colors that I do that are solid opaque, and that's the black and the white. Other than that, all the other colors are translucent, where you can see through.
And this would be used as a coffee table?
Coffee table.
Thank you, Alexandra, for opening up your showroom to us.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
If you're ever in Los Angeles, please visit Alexandra von Furstenberg's showroom on Melrose Boulevard. Thank you, and have a stylish week.